Hello everyone, and welcome beautifully to our quiet journey today. We are gently going to safely learn something very powerful and deeply meaningful, the life-changing lessons from Jesus. His beautiful teachings are absolutely not only about religion, they are purely about precious life, your gentle mindset, finding deep peace, and learning exactly how to safely become a beautifully better person. These quiet lessons can safely guide your tired heart in difficult times, beautifully improve your thinking, and gently help you live a truly meaningful life. In this gentle video, we will beautifully learn 10 powerful lessons from Jesus that can truly and safely transform your precious life. Let us beautifully begin with Lesson 1, Gently Love Others Unconditionally. This is absolutely not just a simple, quiet idea. It is a deep, life-changing principle that can beautifully transform exactly the way you think, feel, and safely live. Most gentle people sadly love with heavy conditions. They quietly love exactly those who safely treat them well. They carefully care for those who respect them, and they are kind only to those who are gently kind to them. But Jesus beautifully taught something very differently. He gently taught to safely love beyond conditions and to bravely love exactly even when it is deeply difficult. He taught to beautifully love absolutely not only your safe friends but also quiet strangers and even exactly those who may absolutely not safely treat you perfectly well. This pure kind of love is absolutely not based on exactly how others sadly behave. It is beautifully based on exactly who you bravely choose to safely be. Please gently imagine someone sadly speaks to you in a rude or heavily negative way. Your natural human reaction may sadly be deep anger, and you may painfully want to respond exactly in the same heavy way. But unconditional love gently teaches you to safely pause. Instead of sadly reacting with heavy anger, you beautifully choose pure calmness. Instead of spreading sad negativity, you bravely choose gentle kindness. This absolutely does not quietly mean you accept wrong, heavy behavior. It beautifully means you absolutely do not allow sadness and negativity to safely control your response, so you peacefully remain exactly in control of your brave actions. Because the deep, quiet truth is that pure love is absolutely not only about others. It is beautifully also about your own inner peace. Exactly when you sadly hold anger, hate, or heavy bitterness, it painfully affects your gentle mind, creates deep stress, and sadly disturbs your pure peace. But exactly when you beautifully choose love, your gentle mind safely becomes calm. You feel deeply lighter, and you are absolutely not carrying heavy emotional weight. Unconditional love safely protects your inner peace, and it beautifully creates deep connection. Exactly when you gently treat people with pure kindness and respect, your safe relationships beautifully improve. People feel comfortably safe around you, and they deeply trust you. Even in completely difficult situations, pure love can safely reduce heavy conflict and beautifully create deep understanding. Of course, this beautiful kind of love is safely a choice, and it is absolutely not perfectly always easy. There will sadly be heavy moments when you quietly feel hurt, disappointed, or deeply angry. But in exactly those heavy moments, choosing pure love safely requires deep strength and beautiful control over your gentle emotions, and this is exactly where true, beautiful growth safely happens. Exactly when you beautifully choose love in difficult, heavy situations, you safely become much stronger. This beautiful love completely changes your gentle perspective. Instead of sadly judging people quickly, you beautifully try to safely understand them. You gently realize that absolutely everyone has their own quiet struggles. And this deep understanding beautifully creates pure compassion, which gracefully makes you a completely better person. This beautiful love safely spreads. Exactly when you gently act with pure kindness, it beautifully influences others, and your gentle behavior creates a safe, positive effect. Even very small, quiet acts of pure kindness can beautifully make a big, safe difference. Unconditional love also safely removes heavy fear, purely because exactly when your beautiful heart is perfectly filled with love, there is safely less space for anger, jealousy, and sad negativity. You beautifully feel much more confident and deeply peaceful. The pure truth is deeply simple. Unconditional love is absolutely not quiet weakness. It is pure, beautiful strength. It beautifully shows that you are safely in control exactly of your gentle mind and your pure emotions. And it shows exactly that you bravely choose pure peace perfectly over heavy conflict. It beautifully shows that you safely rise completely above sad negativity. Exactly when you gently practice this beautiful lesson daily, your precious life safely begins to transform. Your relationships improve. Your gentle mind becomes purely calm. Your beautiful heart becomes deeply lighter, and you beautifully become a deeply stronger, more positive person. That is exactly why pure love is safely the very first and absolute most powerful lesson from Jesus, purely because exactly when you beautifully learn to safely love unconditionally, you gracefully begin to safely transform your entire precious life. Welcome to Lesson 2, Gently Forgive and Let Go. This beautiful lesson is simple to understand, but very difficult to practice. Most people naturally hold on to pain, remembering what others did to them, replaying those moments again and again, and carrying anger and resentment inside their minds. But the honest truth is that holding on to these feelings does not hurt the other person. It deeply hurts you. Jesus taught that forgiveness is the true path to peace. Forgiveness absolutely does not mean that what happened was right, and it does not mean you agree with the mistake. Instead, it means you bravely choose to release the pain and choose not to carry that heavy burden anymore. For example, if you imagine someone who hurt you in the past, keeping those thoughts in your head makes your mind heavy with anger and stress. But when you forgive, something beautiful changes. You let go of that emotional weight, you free your mind, and you finally feel lighter. Many people ask themselves why they should forgive those who wronged them. But a very important truth is that forgiveness is for your peace, not for the other person. It is entirely about protecting your inner peace. When you do not forgive, you stay painfully connected to that pain. But when you forgive, you break that connection and safely move forward. It is easy to hold anger and stay upset, but it takes genuine strength to let go and maturity to choose peace over revenge. This is exactly why forgiveness is a sign of strong character. Please understand that forgiveness does not mean you simply forget everything. You can still learn from the situation and protect yourself in the future, but you do so without carrying the emotional pain or letting it control your thoughts. When your mind is filled with anger, it becomes difficult to think clearly, but letting go brings the powerful benefit of mental clarity. Your mind becomes calm, you can focus better, and you can make better decisions. Holding grudges limits your growth because your energy is stuck in the past, but forgiving creates the necessary space for growth and opens you to new experiences. Sometimes the most important person you need to forgive is yourself. You may feel regret or blame yourself for past mistakes, but holding on to guilt does not help. You must learn to forgive yourself, learn from your mistakes, and move forward, which builds confidence and self-respect. Forgiveness is a process, and it may not happen instantly. Sometimes it takes time. But the mere intention to let go is the first step, and with time, the pain becomes smaller. This brings emotional freedom, where you are no longer controlled by past events and you take back control of your mind to feel truly free. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is pure power that shows you are stronger than your pain and that you choose peace over anger. When you practice forgiveness, your mind becomes lighter, your heart becomes calmer, and your life becomes more peaceful. Because when you let go, you truly move forward, making this one of the most powerful lessons from Jesus. Welcome to Lesson 3, Gently Have Faith in Difficult Times. Precious life is absolutely not always easy, and there will sadly be heavy moments of struggle, confusion, failure, and pure uncertainty. In exactly those quiet moments, it is sadly easy to lose hope and think that things will absolutely never beautifully improve. But Jesus beautifully taught something very powerful. He taught to safely have faith even when you absolutely cannot see the pure result. True faith beautifully means believing that things will safely get better even when the heavy situation looks deeply difficult. It gently means safely trusting the process, beautifully trusting your pure effort, and staying deeply strong when absolutely everything sadly feels completely uncertain. Please gently imagine You are bravely facing a heavy problem in your precious life. You are beautifully working hard, but you are sadly not seeing any pure results. So your gentle mind may sadly start creating heavy doubts, quietly asking why absolutely nothing is changing. You might quietly think that maybe this will absolutely not safely work, and these heavy thoughts sadly weaken your pure confidence. But beautiful faith completely changes your gentle mindset. Instead of sadly focusing on heavy doubt, you beautifully begin to quietly think, I will bravely keep going. I safely trust that things will beautifully improve. This pure belief beautifully gives you deep strength, and another beautifully important truth is that pure faith absolutely does not safely remove heavy problems. It gracefully gives you the pure power to safely face them. Heavy challenges will sadly still come, but beautifully with safe faith, you absolutely do not feel completely broken. You beautifully feel strong enough to safely continue. Because pure faith gently gives you quiet patience and safely helps you stay purely calm exactly in difficult situations. Another beautifully powerful aspect of pure faith is exactly that it safely removes heavy fear, which sadly comes exactly when you focus only on pure uncertainty. But exactly when you beautifully have safe faith, you gently shift your pure focus and beautifully believe that things will safely work out. This beautifully reduces heavy stress and sad anxiety. Another beautifully important point is exactly that pure faith and gentle action beautifully go together. Beautiful faith absolutely does not safely mean simply sitting and quietly waiting. It beautifully means safely taking pure action while deeply believing exactly in the safe outcome. For gentle example, if you beautifully want pure success, you absolutely must safely work for it. But exactly at the very same quiet time, you safely must deeply trust that your pure effort will beautifully bring safe results, and this beautiful balance safely creates pure progress. Another beautifully powerful benefit of pure faith is quiet mental stability. Exactly when your gentle mind is sadly filled with heavy doubt, you painfully feel confused and deeply stressed. But exactly when your beautiful mind is safely filled exactly with pure faith, you gently feel purely calm and safely focused, and you absolutely do not sadly panic easily. You safely handle heavy situations completely better. Another beautifully important truth is that absolutely every successful person has safely gone through difficult, heavy times, but exactly what keeps them beautifully moving forward is pure faith. They beautifully believe exactly in themselves. They safely believe in their pure journey, and they absolutely do not gently give up when things sadly become deeply hard. Another beautifully powerful lesson is safely trusting the perfect timing exactly of your precious life. Sometimes gentle things absolutely do not safely happen exactly as quickly as you beautifully expect. This can sadly create heavy frustration, but beautiful faith gently teaches you to safely trust the quiet process and beautifully teaches you that pure growth safely takes time. This quiet patience beautifully helps you stay completely consistent. Another beautifully important aspect is deep inner strength, because pure faith safely builds beautiful strength completely from within. You absolutely do not safely depend exactly on external, heavy situations. Your pure strength safely comes exactly from your beautiful belief, which gracefully makes you completely more stable and deeply confident. Even exactly when things are sadly difficult, you beautifully feel exactly that there is a pure purpose. You absolutely do not safely feel lost. You beautifully feel gently guided. The pure truth is deeply simple, completely without pure faith. Heavy difficulties sadly feel completely overwhelming, but beautifully, with safe faith, difficulties safely become a pure part exactly of your gentle growth. Pure faith absolutely does not safely guarantee that absolutely everything will beautifully be completely easy, but it gracefully ensures exactly that you will absolutely not gently give up. Exactly when you beautifully practice safe faith, your gentle mind gracefully becomes much stronger. You safely stay calm in heavy challenges, and you beautifully continue moving forward. And beautifully over quiet time, your pure belief safely turns completely into beautiful results. That is exactly why pure faith is beautifully one of the absolute most powerful quiet lessons from Jesus, because it beautifully gives you the pure strength to safely continue exactly even when absolutely everything sadly feels completely uncertain. Welcome to Lesson 4, Beautifully Stay Humble. Jesus gently showed through his precious life that true, beautiful greatness absolutely does not safely come from heavy power, loud status, or sad pride. It beautifully comes exactly from pure humility. In today's loud world, many gentle people sadly want to heavily show superiority, and they painfully want to beautifully prove they are safely better than others. They sadly seek loud attention, heavy praise, and quiet recognition, but Jesus beautifully taught a completely different, safe path. He gently taught exactly that being safely humble is beautifully a pure sign of true, deep strength. Pure humility gently means safely staying grounded, absolutely not sadly letting beautiful success make you heavily arrogant, and beautifully treating absolutely everyone exactly with safe respect, completely regardless of their quiet position. Please gently imagine you safely achieve exactly something beautifully great, exactly in your precious life. It is sadly very easy to quietly become proud, and you may sadly start heavily thinking, I am beautifully better than others. But pure humility gently teaches your beautiful mind to safely stay calm. You beautifully recognize your pure success, but you absolutely do not sadly let it safely control your gentle attitude. You gracefully remain purely respectful and beautifully kind. Another beautifully important quiet truth is exactly that pure humility safely keeps your gentle mind perfectly open. Exactly when you are beautifully humble, you are safely willing to gently learn. You beautifully accept exactly that you absolutely do not safely know absolutely everything, and this gentle mindset beautifully helps you safely grow. But exactly when you are sadly arrogant, you painfully stop gently learning. You sadly believe you beautifully already safely know absolutely everything, and this heavily limits your pure progress. Another beautifully powerful benefit of pure humility is safely better relationships. Gentle people safely feel completely comfortable exactly around humble individuals. They beautifully trust them and deeply respect them. But heavy arrogance sadly creates deep distance and painfully pushes gentle people safely away, while pure humility beautifully brings people safely closer. Another quiet point is exactly that pure humility safely reduces heavy ego. Heavy ego is sadly the painful need to absolutely always safely be right, to always quietly win, and to always beautifully prove your tired self. This sadly creates heavy conflict, but pure humility beautifully allows you to safely stay perfectly calm. You absolutely do not safely need to quietly prove yourself absolutely all the time. You beautifully focus perfectly on pure growth instead of sad comparison. Another beautifully powerful lesson is exactly that pure humility safely creates deep inner peace. Exactly when you are absolutely not sadly trying to heavily compete with absolutely everyone, your gentle mind safely becomes calm. You are absolutely not heavily stressed about exactly what others sadly think. You are beautifully focused exactly on your own quiet journey, and this safely creates pure mental peace. Pure humility also beautifully helps you safely handle both pure success and heavy failure. When you beautifully succeed, you safely stay grounded, and exactly when you sadly fail, you absolutely do not safely feel completely broken. You beautifully accept both exactly with safe balance, and this quiet stability is deeply powerful. Another beautifully powerful aspect of pure humility is quiet gratitude. Humble people beautifully appreciate exactly what they safely have. They absolutely do not gently take things exactly for granted, and they safely feel deeply thankful exactly for their pure opportunities and gentle experiences, which beautifully creates pure happiness. Some people sadly think being beautifully humble means being safely weak or quiet, but this is absolutely not true. Pure humility beautifully means safely having deep strength completely without heavy arrogance. It gently means safely being confident completely without being proud, and beautifully knowing your pure value exactly without needing to heavily show it constantly. Pure humility also safely improves decision-making. Exactly when you are beautifully humble, you safely listen to others and gently consider different, beautiful ideas, which safely helps you beautifully make much better choices. You are absolutely always safely open to gentle improvement and absolutely not sadly limited by your heavy ego, which safely creates beautiful, long-term success. The pure truth is deeply simple. Heavy pride may sadly give temporary satisfaction, But pure humility beautifully creates long-term, safe respect. Exactly when you beautifully stay humble, you safely grow more. You beautifully connect better with people, you gently feel more peaceful, and you safely become much stronger completely from within. That is beautifully exactly why pure humility is safely one of the absolute most powerful quiet lessons from Jesus, purely, because it gently teaches you to safely stay grounded, beautifully keep learning, and safely live exactly with true, pure strength and beautiful peace. Welcome beautifully to Lesson 5, Gently Help Others Completely Selflessly. This beautifully means safely helping gentle people completely without expecting absolutely anything exactly in return. In today's loud world, many gentle people sadly help only exactly when they safely get something beautifully back. They heavily expect quiet appreciation, loud recognition, or some gentle benefit. But Jesus beautifully taught a much deeper, quiet truth. He gently taught exactly that true, pure kindness is completely selfless. It beautifully comes exactly from the pure heart, absolutely not from heavy expectation. Please gently imagine you safely help someone who is sadly struggling. If you heavily expect loud praise or a quiet reward, your gentle help sadly becomes completely conditional. But exactly if you beautifully help simply because it is safely the right quiet thing to do, your gentle action beautifully becomes pure. This is exactly pure selfless service. Another beautifully important quiet truth is exactly that helping others safely brings deep inner happiness. Exactly when you beautifully support someone, and exactly when you gently make someone's precious life a safe little easier, you beautifully feel a deep, pure sense of quiet satisfaction. This gentle happiness is completely different from temporary loud pleasure. It is beautifully calm, deeply peaceful, and safely lasting. Another beautifully powerful point is exactly that. Safely helping others gently builds a deeply strong character. It beautifully makes you completely more compassionate, gently more understanding, and purely more human. Safely helping you begin to beautifully see precious life completely beyond your own quiet self. You beautifully understand exactly that absolutely everyone is sadly facing their own heavy struggles, and this quiet awareness safely creates pure kindness. Another beautifully important benefit is exactly that selfless help safely improves gentle relationships, exactly when you beautifully help others completely, without expecting absolutely anything. Gentle people safely trust you. They beautifully respect you. They safely feel deeply connected exactly to you, and this gracefully creates strong and beautifully meaningful relationships. Another beautifully powerful truth is exactly that even small, quiet acts of pure kindness deeply matter. You absolutely do not safely need to completely do something heavily big. Beautifully simple actions, exactly like quietly listening to someone, gently guiding someone, or safely supporting someone in a very small, quiet way, can beautifully make a big, safe difference. These very small, gentle acts beautifully create a pure, positive impact. Another beautifully important lesson is exactly that helping others absolutely does not safely reduce your pure strength. It beautifully increases it. Exactly when you gently give your precious time, your quiet energy, or your safe support, you beautifully become much stronger completely from within. And you safely feel completely more confident. You beautifully feel deeply more fulfilled. Another powerfully quiet aspect is exactly that. Safely helping others beautifully reduces heavy, selfish thinking. Exactly when you sadly focus only perfectly on yourself, your gentle mind painfully becomes very narrow. But exactly when you beautifully help others, your quiet perspective safely expands. You safely become completely more balanced and deeply positive, and exactly when you beautifully help someone, they are safely much more likely to gently help others. This beautifully creates a pure chain of safe positivity where your one quiet action can safely influence completely many people. Safely helping others absolutely does not beautifully mean quietly ignoring your own precious self. You absolutely must safely take pure care exactly of your own quiet growth as well. But exactly when you are beautifully strong, you can safely help others completely better, which beautifully creates pure harmony. The quiet truth is deeply simple. Beautifully helping others completely selflessly is absolutely not a sad loss. It is safely a pure gain that beautifully gives you quiet happiness, deep peace, and pure purpose. It safely builds a strong, beautiful character and deeply meaningful relationships. Exactly when you beautifully help without heavy expectation, your gentle heart safely becomes lighter, your quiet mind beautifully becomes calmer, and your precious life safely becomes completely more meaningful. That is exactly why pure, selfless service is beautifully one of the absolute most powerful quiet lessons from Jesus. Because exactly when you beautifully give completely without safely expecting, you truly and gently grow. Welcome beautifully to Lesson 6. Gently control your quiet thoughts. Your gentle thoughts are safely the absolute starting point exactly of absolutely everything in your precious life. Every single quiet action beautifully begins with a pure thought. Every safe decision gently comes exactly from your thinking, and every beautiful habit is quietly formed exactly through your repeated thoughts. If your pure thoughts are sadly negative, your gentle actions will heavily become negative. But exactly if your beautiful thoughts are safely positive and deeply clear, your quiet actions will gracefully become strong and deeply meaningful. This is beautifully exactly why gently controlling your pure thoughts is deeply important. Jesus beautifully taught exactly that the quiet condition of your gentle mind safely decides exactly the condition of your precious life. Please gently imagine you sadly, constantly heavily think, I absolutely cannot do this, I am absolutely not safely good enough. These heavy thoughts sadly create deep doubt. They painfully reduce your pure confidence, and they sadly stop you exactly from safely taking pure action. But exactly if you beautifully change your quiet thinking to gently say, I will bravely try, I will safely improve step by beautiful step, your gentle mindset safely becomes much stronger. You beautifully feel deeply motivated and you safely take pure action. This beautifully shows exactly that your quiet thoughts purely and directly affect your gentle behavior. Another beautifully important quiet truth is exactly that your gentle thoughts are absolutely not perfectly always true. Many gentle people sadly believe absolutely every single heavy thought they gently have. But quiet thoughts are sadly often perfectly influenced exactly by heavy fear, sad past experiences, and deeply ingrained heavy habits. They are absolutely not safely always pure reality. Exactly when you beautifully understand this deep truth, you safely stop gently trusting every single negative, heavy thought, and you beautifully begin to safely question them. Another beautifully powerful point is exactly that your gentle mind deeply needs pure direction. Exactly if you absolutely do not safely guide your quiet thoughts, your beautiful mind will sadly move completely toward heavy negativity automatically. It will sadly focus exactly on heavy problems, deep fear, and quiet doubt, which is beautifully exactly why you absolutely must consciously gently guide your pure thinking. You absolutely must beautifully choose exactly what to safely focus completely on. Another beautifully important safe method is exactly gently replacing negative heavy thoughts. Exactly when a sad negative thought quietly appears, please absolutely do not safely follow it. Beautifully replace it exactly with a much better, pure thought. For gentle example, instead of sadly heavily thinking, I will definitely fail, beautifully gently think, I will safely learn and purely improve. This beautifully simple quiet change safely improves your gentle mindset. Another beautifully powerful pure benefit exactly of safely controlling your quiet thoughts is deep emotional stability. Your pure emotions safely come exactly from your gentle thoughts. If your pure thoughts are sadly negative, your gentle emotions gracefully become negative. But exactly when your beautiful thoughts are safely controlled, your pure emotions beautifully become deeply calm. You safely feel completely more balanced. Another beautifully important quiet aspect is pure focus. Exactly when your gentle mind is sadly filled perfectly with unnecessary heavy thoughts, you absolutely cannot safely focus properly. But exactly when you beautifully control your quiet thinking, your gentle mind safely becomes purely clear. You can beautifully concentrate completely better and you can safely work much more effectively. Safely controlling your quiet thoughts beautifully takes gentle practice. It is absolutely not safely something that beautifully happens perfectly instantly. Your gentle mind is safely deeply used completely to certain heavy patterns. Gracefully changing those heavy patterns safely takes pure time. But beautifully with gentle daily effort, your pure control safely improves. Your quiet thoughts beautifully shape your safe future. Exactly what you heavily think repeatedly beautifully becomes your pure belief. Your pure beliefs safely shape your gentle actions, and your pure actions beautifully create your real results. The quiet truth is deeply, beautifully simple. You absolutely cannot safely control absolutely everything exactly in this precious life. But you beautifully can safely control your pure thoughts. And exactly when you beautifully control your quiet thoughts, you safely control your gentle actions. And exactly when you safely control your gentle actions, you beautifully control your precious life. That is exactly beautifully why safely controlling your pure thoughts is perfectly one of the absolute most powerful quiet lessons from Jesus. Purely because exactly when your gentle mind safely becomes deeply strong, your beautiful life safely becomes perfectly strong. Welcome beautifully to Lesson 7. Gently do not worry too much. In precious life, many gentle people sadly spend a large part of their quiet time heavily worrying exactly about things that have absolutely not safely even happened. They sadly worry exactly about the pure future. They heavily worry about quiet problems that may gently come, and they sadly worry exactly about things they absolutely cannot safely control. But this constant, heavy worrying absolutely does not beautifully solve anything. It sadly only creates deep stress, heavy fear, and quiet confusion. Jesus beautifully taught a simple but deeply powerful truth. Safely focus exactly on today. Beautifully do your absolute best exactly in the present, quiet moment, and absolutely do not sadly let your gentle mind gently get completely lost in unnecessary heavy worry. For gentle example, please beautifully imagine you safely have an important, quiet task or beautiful goal. Instead of beautifully focusing exactly on what you safely need to do today, your gentle mind sadly starts heavily thinking, what if I sadly fail? What if gentle things sadly go wrong? These heavy thoughts sadly create deep fear and painfully reduce your pure confidence. They sadly stop you exactly from safely taking pure action. But heavy worrying absolutely does not beautifully change the safe future. It sadly only disturbs your beautiful present. Another beautifully important quiet truth is exactly that most heavy worries are purely imaginary. They are sadly based exactly on what-if situations, and beautifully many of those quiet situations absolutely never actually safely happen. But your gentle mind sadly keeps thinking about them again and heavily again, which sadly creates unnecessary heavy stress. Exactly when you beautifully understand this deep truth, you safely begin to gently question your heavy worries, quietly asking your beautiful self, is this safely real right exactly now? Most of the quiet time, the gentle answer is beautifully no. Another beautifully powerful point is exactly that heavy worry sadly takes your pure energy. Your beautiful mental energy is safely limited. And exactly if you sadly use it on heavy worrying, you beautifully have safely less pure energy exactly for safe action. You sadly feel completely tired, completely without safely doing anything, but exactly when you beautifully focus perfectly on what you safely can do, your pure energy is beautifully used safely, productively. Another beautifully important quiet lesson is to safely separate exactly what you can gently control and exactly what you absolutely cannot. There are beautifully many gentle things exactly in precious life that are safely completely outside your quiet control. You absolutely cannot safely control absolutely everything, but you beautifully can gently control your pure actions. Exactly when you beautifully focus perfectly on exactly what you safely can control, your gentle mind safely becomes purely calmer. You beautifully stop sadly wasting pure energy exactly on heavy things that are absolutely not safely in your gentle hands. Another beautifully powerful safe method is gently taking pure action. Pure action is beautifully the exact safe opposite of heavy worry. Exactly when you safely take even a small, quiet step, your gentle mind beautifully becomes completely more confident. You safely feel exactly that you are beautifully moving purely forward, which safely reduces heavy fear. For gentle example, instead exactly of sadly worrying completely about a heavy problem, beautifully quietly ask exactly what is one small, safe step I can beautifully take exactly right now? This beautiful question safely brings pure clarity. Another beautifully important pure benefit exactly of safely reducing heavy worry is deep peace. of quiet mind. Exactly when your gentle mind is absolutely not sadly filled perfectly with unnecessary heavy thoughts, you beautifully feel purely calm. You can safely focus completely better, and you can gently think purely clearly. Precious life is sadly uncertain, and absolutely no one safely knows the pure future completely. But heavy worrying absolutely does not gently give you pure control exactly over it. It sadly only creates heavy stress, but safely trusting the quiet process and beautifully staying perfectly focused exactly on the safe present beautifully gives you pure strength. Another beautifully important quiet habit is safely staying purely present, exactly when you beautifully focus perfectly on exactly what you are safely doing exactly. Right now, your gentle mind safely becomes purely stable. You are absolutely not sadly heavily thinking exactly about past or future heavy problems, which safely reduces heavy overthinking. Another beautifully powerful point is exactly that heavy worrying absolutely does not safely prepare your beautiful self. It sadly only beautifully makes you deeply anxious. Safe preparation beautifully comes exactly from pure action, absolutely not from heavy worry. The pure truth is deeply simple. Heavy worry absolutely does not safely solve heavy problems. It sadly creates completely more heavy problems, but exactly when you safely reduce heavy worry and beautifully focus exactly on pure action, your gentle mind beautifully becomes completely stronger. You safely feel completely more confident, you beautifully handle heavy situations completely better, and you safely live exactly with completely more pure peace. That is beautifully exactly why Jesus safely taught exactly not to heavily worry too much, purely because exactly when you safely stop sadly worrying, you beautifully start safely living. And exactly when you beautifully focus perfectly on the quiet present, you safely take pure control exactly of your precious life. Welcome beautifully to Lesson 8, Gently Be Honest and Safely Truthful. In today's loud world, many gentle people sadly choose heavy shortcuts. They sadly lie to safely avoid heavy problems, and they beautifully hide the pure truth exactly to sadly look completely better. They sadly say heavy things exactly that are absolutely not real just to safely gain quiet approval. But these heavy actions may sadly only gently give temporary, quiet comfort. In the gentle long run, they sadly create heavy stress, quiet confusion, and painfully broken trust. Jesus beautifully taught exactly that pure truth is safely the right path even exactly when it is deeply difficult. Beautifully being safely honest gently means speaking the pure truth, safely living exactly with pure integrity, and beautifully staying completely real exactly in your quiet actions. For gentle example, please beautifully imagine you sadly make a heavy mistake. It is sadly very easy exactly to quietly hide it. It is sadly easy to beautifully lie and safely protect your precious self. But exactly this sadly creates heavy fear, and you completely constantly worry exactly about safely being exposed. Your gentle mind sadly becomes deeply restless. But exactly when you safely accept the beautiful truth, exactly something gently changes, you safely feel completely lighter, and you beautifully feel purely free. You are absolutely not sadly hiding anything. Pure honesty safely builds deep trust, and beautiful trust is completely very valuable. Exactly once gentle people safely trust you, your beautiful relationships gently become deeply strong. Gentle people safely respect you, and they beautifully feel completely confident exactly in you. But exactly once pure trust is sadly broken, it is beautifully very difficult exactly to safely rebuild. This is exactly why pure honesty is beautifully so important. Another beautifully powerful point is exactly that safe honesty purely builds deep self-respect. Exactly when you safely live completely truthfully, you beautifully feel purely proud exactly of your beautiful self. You safely know exactly that you are absolutely not sadly pretending, and you are absolutely not safely hiding. You are beautifully being purely real, and this safely creates deep inner strength. Heavy dishonesty sadly creates deep fear and quiet tension, but safe honesty beautifully creates pure calmness. You safely feel completely relaxed exactly because you are absolutely not sadly carrying any heavy burden. Pure honesty absolutely does not safely mean beautifully being harsh. You beautifully can safely speak the pure truth exactly in a gentle, kind, and beautifully respectful way. Pure truth should absolutely not sadly hurt others. It should beautifully guide and gently help. And this quiet balance is safely deeply important. Another beautifully powerful lesson is safely being purely honest, completely with your own beautiful self. Sometimes gentle people sadly lie exactly to themselves. They sadly ignore their heavy mistakes, and they painfully avoid pure reality. But beautiful growth safely comes exactly from pure honesty. Exactly when you safely accept your gentle weaknesses, you beautifully can purely improve. Exactly when you gently accept your pure reality, you safely can completely change it. Pure honesty safely helps you beautifully make completely better quiet decisions. Exactly when you safely see gentle things, purely, clearly, completely without heavy illusion, you beautifully choose safely and wisely, and you are absolutely not sadly confused. You are absolutely not heavily misled. Another beautifully powerful pure benefit is safe long-term success. Gentle people exactly who safely live completely with pure honesty may sadly face heavy challenges exactly in the gentle beginning, but exactly in the gentle beginning. Long run, they beautifully build a strong, safe reputation and deep respect. This beautifully leads perfectly to safe, stable success. Pure truth safely gives you gentle freedom. You are absolutely not sadly controlled perfectly by heavy fear, and you are absolutely not safely hiding. You are beautifully living completely with pure clarity. The pure truth is deeply beautifully simple. Heavy lies may sadly feel completely easy exactly for a quiet moment, but they sadly create heavy long-term problems. Pure truth may sadly feel deeply difficult exactly for a gentle moment, but it beautifully creates safe long-term peace. Exactly when you beautifully choose pure honesty, you safely choose deep strength, you safely choose pure clarity, and you beautifully choose deep respect. That is beautifully exactly why safely being honest and purely truthful is perfectly one of the absolute most powerful quiet lessons exactly from Jesus. Welcome beautifully to Lesson 9, Gently Be Patient. In precious life, many gentle people sadly want absolutely everything completely quickly. They sadly want fast success, they heavily want instant results, and they sadly want absolutely everything to beautifully happen immediately. But the pure, gentle truth is exactly that. Real beautiful growth safely takes quiet time. Good gentle things absolutely do not sadly happen perfectly instantly. They beautifully require pure effort, safe consistency, and quiet patience. Jesus beautifully showed pure patience exactly in absolutely every single quiet situation. Even exactly in difficult, heavy times, he gracefully remained purely calm, perfectly steady, and deeply strong. This beautifully teaches us a completely important, quiet lesson. Pure patience is absolutely not safely about just waiting. It is beautifully exactly about how you safely behave exactly while beautifully waiting. For gentle example, please beautifully imagine you are safely working exactly toward a beautiful goal. You are beautifully putting in pure effort, but safe results are sadly not coming completely quickly. Your gentle mind may sadly start heavily creating deep frustration, and you may quietly think, why is this sadly taking so long? Is this safely even beautifully working? This heavy frustration can sadly safely lead to perfectly giving up. But pure patience beautifully changes your gentle mindset. Instead of sadly feeling heavily frustrated, you beautifully stay purely calm. You safely trust the quiet process, and you beautifully continue your pure effort completely, without sadly losing pure focus. Another beautifully important quiet truth is exactly that heavy impatience sadly creates heavy mistakes. Exactly when you sadly rush gentle things, you heavily make poor quiet decisions. You sadly skip beautifully important quiet steps, and you painfully lose pure clarity. But pure patience beautifully allows you to safely think perfectly clearly, and you gently make completely better safe choices. Another beautifully powerful pure benefit exactly of quiet patience is deep emotional control. Exactly when heavy things sadly do not gently go your beautiful way, it is sadly very easy exactly to heavily react completely with heavy anger or sad stress. But pure patience safely helps you beautifully stay purely calm. You absolutely do not sadly react completely immediately. You beautifully respond exactly with pure control. This safely improves your beautiful relationships and your quiet decisions. Pure patience beautifully works exactly with pure action. Pure patience absolutely does not safely mean beautifully doing completely nothing. It beautifully means safely continuing your pure effort completely without heavy stress. You safely work, you beautifully improve, and you gently wait purely calmly exactly for safe results. Another beautifully powerful pure benefit exactly of quiet patience is safely reduced heavy stress. Exactly when you safely stop sadly rushing and heavily worrying exactly about safe results, your gentle mind beautifully becomes deeply peaceful. You safely focus exactly on your pure effort, which beautifully creates pure balance. Pure patience safely improves your beautiful perspective. Exactly when you are beautifully patient, you safely understand exactly that precious life is beautifully a quiet journey. You are absolutely not sadly focused only perfectly on quick, heavy results. You are beautifully focused perfectly on safe, long-term growth. The pure truth is deeply, beautifully simple. Heavy impatience sadly creates deep stress and heavy mistakes. Pure patience beautifully creates safe clarity and deep strength. Exactly when you beautifully learn to safely stay calm, safely trust the quiet process, and beautifully continue your pure effort, your precious life safely becomes completely more stable. You safely make completely better quiet decisions, you beautifully handle heavy challenges completely better, and you safely achieve deeply meaningful results. That is beautifully exactly why pure patience is safely one of the absolute most powerful quiet lessons exactly from Jesus. Purely because exactly when you beautifully learn quiet patience, you safely learn exactly to beautifully stay perfectly strong exactly in absolutely every single quiet situation. Welcome beautifully to the final step of our quiet journey, Lesson 10. Gently stay strong exactly in your pure purpose. Absolutely every gentle person safely has a beautiful purpose, exactly in precious life. It beautifully may be exactly to safely grow, to gently help others, to purely learn, or to beautifully create exactly something deeply meaningful. But the gentle journey is sadly not always perfectly easy. There will sadly be heavy challenges, and there will beautifully be quiet doubts. There will sadly be heavy moments, exactly when you painfully feel exactly like perfectly giving up. Jesus beautifully showed exactly the absolute greatest safe example exactly of safely staying perfectly committed completely to his pure purpose exactly even perfectly in the absolute most difficult heavy situations. He absolutely did not sadly stop, and he completely did not safely change his pure path, purely because exactly of heavy fear or sad pressure. He beautifully stayed deeply strong. This beautifully teaches us a deeply powerful pure truth. Exactly if your gentle purpose is safely clear, you absolutely must beautifully stay completely committed exactly to it, purely no matter exactly what. For gentle example, please beautifully imagine you safely have a beautiful goal. At the gentle beginning, you safely feel deeply excited. You are beautifully motivated, and you bravely start safely working. But beautifully after some quiet time, heavy difficulties sadly appear. You sadly face heavy problems. You sadly feel completely tired, and you painfully feel pure doubt. In exactly those heavy moments, beautifully many gentle people sadly completely give up. They sadly change their gentle direction, and they painfully stop safely trying. But beautifully staying deeply strong exactly in your pure purpose gently means safely continuing perfectly even exactly when it is deeply hard. It beautifully means absolutely not sadly letting temporary heavy difficulties safely stop your beautiful long-term vision. Another beautifully important quiet point is exactly that pure purpose. Safely requires gentle sacrifice. You beautifully may safely need to gently give up soft comfort. You may safely need to beautifully work completely harder exactly than others, and you may gently need to safely face heavy challenges. But these safe sacrifices are beautifully a pure part exactly of safe growth, and they beautifully gently make you deeply stronger. Another beautifully important quiet lesson is exactly to safely ignore heavy distractions, because beautifully many heavy things will sadly try to completely pull you safely away exactly from your pure purpose. Easy, quiet options, soft comfort, and heavy distractions can sadly completely slow you safely down. But you absolutely must beautifully stay completely focused, and you safely must gently protect your beautiful direction. Exactly when you beautifully stay exactly on your pure path, you gently improve safely step by beautiful step. You beautifully learn exactly from your safe experiences and you gently become completely better. Exactly when you beautifully work safely towards exactly something deeply meaningful, your precious life safely feels deeply valuable. You beautifully feel exactly that your safe actions gently matter, which safely creates pure, deep satisfaction. Safe results may absolutely not gently come perfectly immediately, and quiet progress may sadly feel completely slow. But exactly if you beautifully stay safely consistent, beautiful results will completely gently come. Safely trust the quiet process. Pure purpose beautifully shapes your safe identity, and exactly what you safely work perfectly on daily beautifully gently becomes exactly who you safely are. Exactly when you beautifully stay safely committed, you gently become deeply strong, beautifully disciplined, and purely focused. The pure truth is deeply beautifully simple. Safely giving up is sadly completely easy, but beautifully staying perfectly strong is deeply powerful. Exactly when you beautifully stay safely committed completely to your pure purpose, you safely build deep strength, pure confidence, and beautiful clarity, and you gracefully move completely forward perfectly even exactly in difficult heavy times. And beautifully over quiet time, your pure persistence safely creates beautiful success. That is beautifully exactly why safely staying perfectly strong exactly in your pure purpose is safely the final and absolutely most powerful quiet lesson exactly from Jesus. Purely because exactly when you beautifully stay safely committed, absolutely no heavy challenge can safely stop your beautiful self. And exactly when you absolutely do not safely stop, you beautifully grow, you safely succeed, and you beautifully create exactly a deeply meaningful, precious life. Beautiful quiet lessons exactly from Jesus are safely simple, but they are beautifully deeply powerful. They are absolutely not safely just quiet words exactly to safely listen completely to. They are beautifully pure principles exactly to safely live by. Exactly if you beautifully and truly safely apply completely these quiet lessons exactly in your daily precious life, your pure thinking will beautifully change. Your quiet actions will safely improve, and your precious life will beautifully gently become completely more peaceful and deeply meaningful. Gently start beautifully exactly with one single quiet lesson. Beautifully safely practice it absolutely every single quiet day, and beautifully slowly, you will safely, gently, see a pure, beautiful transformation exactly in your precious self. Please beautifully safely remember exactly that real, pure change absolutely does not safely completely happen exactly in one single quiet day. It beautifully gently happens safely exactly through small, quiet actions safely repeated absolutely every single day. Exactly if you beautifully, safely found completely this quiet video deeply helpful, please safely gently make beautifully sure exactly to safely like the gentle video, beautifully share it safely, completely with your gentle friends, and safely subscribe completely to the beautiful channel exactly for completely more deeply powerful and purely meaningful quiet content. Thank you beautifully exactly for quietly watching, and we will safely gently see your beautiful self exactly in the next quiet video.